Hey, it's John Hope Bryant. So we're going to have a serious conversation today about something that is obvious to me, but may not be obvious to others. And so I'm going to break this down. I was driving through the hood, or as we say where I grew up in Compton, California, the hood. Here in Atlanta today, I try to drive through our community, which I love, in which we serve at Operation Hope with passion and vigor. I drive through our community every few weeks just so I can make sure that I'm in touch, that I have texture for what's going on in my neighborhoods and my community. By the way, tell your friends to sign on to this broadcast. We're going to be dealing with the generational curse in Black America. It has nothing to do with us, by the way. I'm on for personal responsibility. We didn't do this one to us, but we got to do something to get ourselves out of it. I'm gonna break it down. So this is a generational curse about on Black America, and what we're gonna do about it. Tell your friends, share this on your page, start a conversation, start a page about it if you like, so we can get into this and get deep. At the end of the day, I want you to go to Operation Hope and sign up to a financial coaching session to change your life. But I want to see tens of thousands of people watch this video, and I want to see multi-generational, multi-ethnic, Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, dialoguing about this, rich and poor, conservative and liberal. I've already said Black and white, dialoguing in this topic, male and female. So let me get into this, all right? I want to go to the office today, socially distanced, had my mask on, to show you how I roll, right? When I'm out, I was out, to go see Ambassador Young get film something, so I didn't want to get him sick, so I put this on. Right. This is my mask, right? You see my logo for Operation Hope, right? I'm rolling with Operation Hope swag. But I went so I wouldn't get Ambassador Young sick. Andrew Young, my mentor, our last living lieutenant of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Doctor, 130 honorary doctor degrees, mayor of Atlanta 2 terms, congressman 2 terms, first congressman from the South since Reconstruction, co-chair of the Atlanta Olympic Games, has several schools named after him, UN ambassador, first Black UN ambassador, top lieutenant to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Again, last living lieutenant to Dr. King. God bless John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, who just passed on to glory. Presidential Medal of Freedom awardee. We had 3 here in Atlanta. I went to go see him because he was doing the forward for my book, Up From Nothing, The Untold Story of How We All Succeed, which comes out in October. And we were doing the audio book. So I read the audio book, and he wrote the forward, so he wanted to read the forward himself. And so I went to the office, socially distanced to hang out with him and irritate him, basically. And if you don't know who Ambassador Young is, shame on all of us, right? And do some research. A living legend, icon. So again, tell all your friends to lock into this broadcast. On the way home, I decided to detour. I had to drop him. I had to bring him an Operation Hope custom-made mug. Maybe we'll find a way to give some away to you guys. They're classy. Drink a lot of water every day. He lives in the same home that he lived in when Dr. King and the civil rights leaders met in the 60s. So he lives what was then a very prosperous Black neighborhood. And around him now, not in his neighborhood, right around him, within 5 minutes, you're in the hood. So on the way there and on the way out, I'm noticing our people and our community, our environment. And it hit me that I needed to talk to you about this. We need to have a family conversation. This is a generational curse. I deal with this in my book, Up From Nothing, The Untold Story, How We All Succeed, comes out in October. Bear Kohler is the publisher. You can read it on audio, read it or get an audio book. we'll give some away on this channel as we get close to that. I deal with the 400-year problem, right? Slavery and the reverse transfer of wealth. I deal with all of that. Fast forward now, because none of that was our doing, none of that was our fault. That's a whole nother conversation that's been well documented. Let's now fast forward to post-civil rights and really where we are now. Look at our neighborhoods. Look at where George Floyd was murdered. A 570 credit score neighborhood is where George Floyd was murdered. I'm sure you've never heard anybody break it down to you like that, tied it to a credit score. The vast majority of the other police shootings, unfortunate police shootings with black people, the vast majority, overwhelming majority, 500 credit score neighborhoods, the overwhelming majority of them. The young lady who was killed in jail, coming from her job in her new job in Texas, I believe it was, I think is exception to the rule. I'm looking at my neighborhood and here's what I see. Undereducated, this is a generational curse. Slavery wasn't our fault. Now folks want to blame poverty on us. Check this out. Undereducated, this is the public responsibility now, plus a private sector responsibility. Undereducated, so vast majority of our communities are high school educated level or less. Undereducated, over-policed. Write this down. I love math. There's no opinion. Undereducated, the vast majority, over-policed. What do I mean by undereducated? And I'm going to define over-policed. I'm not anywhere near finished. I'm going to unpack this. Let me know if you're liking this. This is cool. And I see you guys signing on. Hey, Kim. Hey, Dianca. Hey, Sheikha Adams. Hey, April. Cecilia. Just Marcy. I know I've done 2 broadcasts today, but I think this is really important. Let me know whether you guys vibe in this. One of the reasons we have discrimination and bias and ignorance on the white side is these are mostly poor whites, God bless them, who were also screwed over 400 years ago. That's a whole other story. And that generational curse for them has continued because their poor white populations don't track with the rich white populations, and very rarely do they mix. I'm talking about poor, uneducated whites. God bless them. There's no disparagement here. I'm talking about poor blacks too. But that's where a lot of racism and ignorance sits, because they have never got a lot of exposure or higher education, and they can't get better jobs. They're frustrated. So our communities have, when I grew up in Compton, my mother had a high school education. My dad did too. They had hourly jobs. My dad owned his own business. My mother had an hourly job. Now she made it out because she applied herself, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute, and she's financially independent. But the vast majority of people around me did not make it out of their situation in Compton because they weren't given the skills and the tools, and it's what they didn't know that they didn't know that was killing them, but they thought they knew. It's what they didn't know that they didn't know that was killing them, but they thought they knew. It's what they didn't know that they didn't know that was killing them, but they thought they knew. Because you model what you see. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. You hang around 9 broke people. Yeah. Come on, repeat it. Talk, answer me. You'll be the 10th, okay? You model what you see. So what do we want to be in our neighborhoods? Let's back up. So we're educated. So in our neighborhoods, you see nobody with a business card. You see nobody with a white collar. They're all blue collars. If you see a collar, jobs, white collar being office workers. You see nobody on a salary. You already mentioned that? No. You see no professionals, really. You don't see people walking around in suits and ties and dresses unless it's Sunday. You don't hear the word entrepreneur unless somebody's talking about a drug dealer, all right? And they're talking about entrepreneurship, not an entrepreneur. You don't see office buildings. Listen to me now. You don't see office buildings in the hood. Office towers where entrepreneurs and small business owners employ people. The only office tower that we see in our neighborhoods are courthouses, okay? So how does anybody expect us to succeed? So then we model what we see. We see rap stars on TV. We want to be that, but how many rap stars are there? We see professional athletes on TV. We want to model that. How many professional athletes are there? I'm not digging on these professions. I'm saying it's not a viable path for 35 million black people, another 40 million Latinos. Back to black people for a minute. NBA, 450 slots a year. There's 35 million black people. Okay? 450 slots in the NBA a year. 150 of those slots are international slots, which means you have 300 slots out of 35 to 40 million people trying to get in the NBA. Every kid hooping. Every kid trying to be like my man Tip or Dr. J or whatever on a mic, rocking the mic, right? Get to that in a minute. Professional football, same statistics. So rap star, athlete, God forbid, drug dealer, or gangster, because that's what we see as prosperous in our neighborhoods. Slow down. I'm not anywhere near finished. Let's unpack this. Are you with me? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you with me? I need to see if we're tracking together as a family here. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie Bryant. Thank you, Krista. I want to make sure that we're tracking here, that you guys are with me. Okay. Erica, hey. Ogun, hey. All right. So, high school education, which was a promotion from no education in slavery and Jim Crow, which ended in the 60s, as in 1960s, not 1860s, right? High school education was a heaven sent. And by the way, so where did our professions come from? You make all your money, by the way, you build all your wealth, you make your money in small business, you build your wealth in entrepreneurship. Those are two different things, by the way. No one ever tells us that. Read my book, The Memo. No one breaks this down for you. Small business owner, it's about building cash flow and about independent income. And you will probably build some wealth from that. But you can be a small business owner and never build any wealth, but you can have a nice way of life, right? But if you want to build wealth, that's really entrepreneurship. That's wealth creation. You can also become an investor, build wealth in your sleep. But these are different. But no one teaches us investor growing up. You guys have these conversations? Entrepreneur. I learned the word when I was 9 when a banker came in my classroom. And I asked him, what do you do for a living? How'd you get rich legally? And I was dead serious. Because no one, I was like I was meeting a Martian. A white man with a suit on. It wasn't a detective of the police department. Who knew? Entrepreneurship, investor, small business owner. That's where wealth comes from, and income and independence. We don't get that memo, right? All right. Where did our professions come from? Doctors, lawyers. This is the top of the mark now. Accountants. Love it, by the way. Where did it come from? The military. World War II. We went to the military. This is A. Philip Randolph. He doesn't get credit for this. He threatened the march in Washington, D.C., the original March on Washington, before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, it was a march on Washington before that, threatened in the 1940s. The president said, hold on, don't march. What do you want? And Philip Randolph said, I want justice for our people, desegregate the military. So he did. That's why you see war films with black folks in it, right? Essentially, we were Jim Crowed here, but we were free to die there. Okay, Dr. King talked about that. But we went there and served because we love America, and we love our freedom, and we love people, and we give people the benefit of the doubt, and we still should be the best that God has to offer, right? Not because somebody deserves it. That's how we roll. That's how you got your lawyers. That's how you got your doctors en masse. And so we came out thinking middle class was a salary, a nice pair of wardrobe, some nice shoes, a leased or bought car, an apartment building, maybe a house. But it was about cashing checks. Listen now, not writing them. Writing them as a business owner, writing them as an entrepreneur. So when I go to the basketball game here in Atlanta, I'm not looking at the ball players on the front row. God bless them, fantastic. I'm talking to my man Tony Wrestler, who owns the team, who's sitting in the third row because he wants somebody else to pay for the expensive tickets. He owns the team. He's paying the guys on the team. They're cashing checks. He's writing them. You understand what I'm saying? Wealth created. He's a billionaire. Now, am I going too slow? Come on, am I breaking this down too detailed? Talk to me. We okay? I see you guys watching me, but tell me again, this is so important. So the hood, you pass through our neighborhoods, high school education, if you're lucky. Not mother and father, baby daddy, baby mama. Some sounds weird to you? No nuclear families, husband and wife. The mother's working 3 jobs, or if you're lucky, dad working 2 jobs. But very rarely nuclear family. You could like finding a family in the hood with 2 mother and father employed and the whole thing, committed to education, whatever, in the hood is like trying to find a unicorn. It's the exception, not the rule. Don't get mad at me by saying, well, my family's that. I'm not saying your family's not that. I'm saying this is the norm, right? And I'm saying this is the curse. This is why we don't succeed. High school education, not college, not advanced, not skills-based, not computer, not technology, not engineering, not anything where the jobs come from. The Chinese had one thing right. I don't really like their model. I think that they cheat and they play a lot of games. But the Chinese people were told obsessed about education, obsessed about economics and the sciences. Completely right. What are we obsessed about? Things that don't have a funnel that employs or empowers a lot of people. Again, basketball, football, whatever the other sports are, the arts, which are a very small part of the economy. 2/3 of this economy is economics and the sciences, for which we're not focused on. Back to the story. Here's the hood. High school education, hourly workers, low-skilled jobs, replaceable low-skilled jobs. The police want to go home. Let's assume these are good people. Don't assume they're bad people. They're black police officers, right? Whatever. But they don't typically live in these neighborhoods because they are not making the income that would attract them to the neighborhoods that they're policing. They're living in the suburbs. They're living someplace where they don't have to worry about the kids being jacked. There's no opinion here. I'm just giving you the outline. So they're living in a 700 credit score neighborhood, all right? But they're policing a 500 credit score neighborhood. What's their goal? To get home. So it says in LA, the police department, the cars say to protect and to serve. It should say to protect and to serve in a 700 credit score neighborhood. Really, it's to oversee, control, so they don't attack you, to oppress if you feel threatened, because they're like, hey, I'm getting home. They got the helmet on their go every time because they don't know what's going to pop off. I'm trying to get home. And so they're overreacting and they don't think that you're a shareholder. They don't think you're a voter. They don't think that you're a business owner. They don't think you're anybody important, unfortunately. So they feel like they can put their foot on your neck, whatever, right? It's poverty. Okay. Undereducated, over-policed, no office towers. Already covered that. No entrepreneurship, no small business, no investor education, right? We farm club football players, basketball players from middle school, don't we? They'll find you. Do we farm club engineers? Do we farm club small business owners, entrepreneurs, investors, management professionals? I even take mechanics. I mean, do we farm club any of the professions? Doctors, lawyers? Do we middle school all the way up and create a funnel up into college, up into careers? No, we don't. Mental health. So, of course, all this oppression and I could go on about the problems in our community, but you got the picture. So now we bring poverty on the poor. Then we over-police them some more. Our schools are starved because we have low tax bases. Why do we have low tax bases? Because our net worth was robbed from us from slavery 400 years ago in reverse transfer of wealth, where we worked hard. The guy in the big house got the benefit of our labor. That's in my book, another conversation. Took 250 years to even stop that. Then that turned into Jim Crow, which is basically commercial slavery. That went on for 100 years. You still could get a decent mortgage in 1970 without the government discriminating against you, because in 1970 the government would not finance a mortgage, a guaranteed mortgage in the hood, which is why your homes in the hood are worth less than homes in major America. Don't get angry about any of this. It's just it is. We got to get even. I'm gonna tell you how to do this in a minute. You got to level the playing field. So now you have domestic abuse. Now you have mental illness. Now you have depression. Now you have no hope. What do people do when they do that? Rob, crime. I mean, you have entrepreneurial talent wherever you are. You think people are going to stop being brilliant because they're in the hood? Imagine if Steve Jobs, who was a Jordanian immigrant who was adopted, passed around from the family that didn't want him because the father of the white girl who had the relationship with the Jordanian guy said, not in our house. So put him up for adoption, try to get a wealthy family. The wealthy family rejected him. And the only family they could get to take him was the Jobs family in Silicon Valley, which happened to be the technology center. This family happened to be engineers. And around the corner, Steve Jobs met another brilliant guy named Wozniak, who was an engineer. They got together, combined their talent, their genius, and created what you call Apple, which is probably what you're watching this device, which is probably what you're using to watch me on this broadcast right now. Wealthiest company, one of the wealthiest companies in the world. But what if Steve Jobs was born on the south side of Chicago to a single black mother with a daddy not home and no skills, no talents, no hookup, no relationship capital, no nothing? He'd have been the biggest drug dealer on the south side of Chicago with the best of intentions, because you're modeling what you see. Are you following me? Come on, talk to me. Is this conversation too deep? So maybe I've gone too deep. Let me see, I've gone now 23 minutes. It's much longer than my normal broadcast into the problem. I wanted to give you a visual, right? And so the schools are underfunded because schools get funded through tax revenue. And so you don't have computers. You don't have good educators who are committed. The kids are a buck wild, out of control because they don't have any hope. They don't have a reason to be at school. They're like, for what? Where is this going to? I mean, if you promise every kid who got a B minus, a B plus, a job right out of school, high school graduation problem solved. Amen? Okay? We need to fix this. I've got a new Marshall Plan I wrote. It's in the descriptions for this broadcast. Read it. Discuss it amongst your friends. I'm busy getting support for this at the local level, the state level, the federal level, with the private sector. By the way, don't obsess too much about government because 90% of all jobs come from the private sector. Little known fact. I'll do a whole video on that. Yes. People think that government creates 50% of jobs. No. Government creates 7% of jobs at the federal level and 12% of jobs nationally. Everybody, city, state, federal government. Most jobs are private sector jobs, from little businesses to big ones. So we can turn this thing around. Here's what you got to do. You got to stop being stupid. Okay? You got to stop hanging around stupid people. You got to stop hanging around toxic people. You got to stop hanging around bums and folks going to prison. And if you're in the car with them, you go into prison too. You gotta tighten your circle of risk. You gotta get toxicity out of your life. You gotta be obsessed about education. You gotta be obsessed about your credit score. You gotta be obsessed about not having a but next to your name. When you leave a room, no one should say but. They shouldn't say, I really like Leon, but I really think Leon's a great guy. But I think Melissa's really fantastic. But I would invest with John Bryant's business. But it's the but that kills you. Can't have a butt that's a felony. If you can avoid it, a butt that's a crappy credit score. I like to hire her, but you don't want to have a crappy credit score because half of employers will run your credit before they will hire you. And if you're black, you're the last hired and the first fired. So why increase your risk? Okay. You don't want to have a crappy credit score. You in love with somebody, ask them the credit score. Have a conversation with them about their aspirations. Cute's not good enough anymore. Cute's easy. You can get cute all day. Cute, pretty, whatever, right? You want to make sure you run their credit. Okay? As my dad used to say growing up, credit. Johnny Smith used to say his credit was bad. My dad's credit was so bad he called it credit. Okay? My mother, by the way, the credit score 854. Juanita Smith. Unbelievable. So she's financially independent. She's staying with my sister right now in Houston. She's chilling on a high school education with an hourly wage because she realized it wasn't about how much you make, about how much you spend. It's about not what you make with your money, what you do with it. And she understood wealth creation, and she just changed her life because she focused. I want you to focus. You have got to get out of the hood, or you got to change the hood. You got to get out of a hood environment, or you have to change the people around you to your environment, your mental environment. If environment is designed for your failure. Not because somebody hates you or is discriminating against you anymore. They don't care. Drop the mic. It's not love or hate like in Dr. King's day. It's radical indifference. Like, people just don't care enough about you to hate you. They got their own problem, their own thing, their own deal, and we're not producing taxes in these neighborhoods. We aren't producing entrepreneurs. We aren't producing small business owners. We aren't producing investors. The ball players. So the folks we are producing, don't get mad at me. The overwhelming majority of them are performers. They're performing on a basketball court, performing on a baseball court, performing on a football field, performing on a stage. They're not owning like Jay-Z or T.I. or Quincy Jones. They're not owning. They don't realize that it's a business, man. Or Jay-Z said, not a businessman, I'm a business man, right? That's why he's a billionaire. He understood that. And by the way, no artist and no sports figure ever moved from that place to billionaire without understanding the business piece. So we aren't producing the things in our neighborhoods that would call. We aren't owning homes. We're not financially literate. No one's taught us financial literacy. Home economics has been taken out of our schools. So why is somebody obsessed with us? Why would somebody want to take us out, spend that much time taking us out? Or they don't care. People are interested in what benefits, unless you own a check casher, a payday loan lender, a rent-to-own store, a title lender, a liquor store, a pawn shop. Come on, can I get an amen? Then they're very interested in you. All right, I'm done. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if I bored you. Y'all ready for me to stop? Come on, talk to me. David says, work hard, keep your head down. You guys loving this or not? Come on, talk to me. Come on, talk to me now. So I want you to spread this message. I want you to make this go viral. I want you to share. We got 2 million people who follow this movement now, but because it's more educational than it is entertainment, because I'm just layering it in and it's not some scandal, it takes a bit more to bake this in to folks. It just spreads, and then some of these videos I've done here have one of them has 14 million views. So we can get there and keep layering this on, but it starts with a few thousand, then 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, a quarter million, $1 million, 5 million. Now you got to move it. I want you to create a block club, okay? I want you to get for hope, an investment, an opportunity. I want you to start teaching your kids these things I'm talking about. I want you we need to defy those who underestimate us. What did Malcolm X say? We've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. We've been fooled. Don't get angry at people. Get even. And success is the best revenge. And this is not a white person's thing, by the way. Folks repressing us are black and white. Okay, folks hurting us. Yeah, they're bad black police officers. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad white police officers. There's a lot of bad black gangsters. So let's stop with the blame game. There's also a lot of white folks who join with black folks to create the NAACP, to create the National Urban League, to create Operation Hope. That was part of the Civil Rights Movement. Half of those protesters were white. Half the protesters in this movement right now are white. This is about the green, and this is about us being brothers and sisters. But we've got to say, black folks in particular, we've got to say it, knock it off. We got to start saving our own communities. We need to understand the math. We need to look around your neighborhoods tomorrow after you watch this video and see whether you understand what I'm saying. It's set up for failure. It's a generational curse. And we keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'm about to leave. Here's what I'm going to say to you. No matter how much I love you, my son. So racism, bias, discrimination, all that stuff, that was on our heads. Heavy. The burning down of Tulsa, all that stuff. Now, people just leave us to our own devices because we're modeling negative stuff. Here's something for you. No matter how much I love you, my son or my daughter, if I don't have wisdom, I can only give you my own ignorance. Did you get that? In a blind town, a one-eyed man's king. If I don't know better, I can't do better. Did you get that? It's what I don't know that I don't know that's killing me, but I think I know. Did you get that? So out of love, we pass down bad habits from generation to generation. We just need to stop it. We need to stop underwhelming ourselves and letting other people underestimate us. Dr. Benjamin Mays, the mentor of Dr. King, said this: the greatest sin is not failure, it's low aim. Let's increase our aim. Let's increase our aspiration. Let's increase our dreams. we're going to fail big. Hank Aaron had the record for the most strikeouts and the most home runs, or reverse it, the most home runs and the most strikeouts, because you cannot hit a ball you don't swing at. Let's start swinging, not at somebody's head, but at a ball called aspirational success. I'm out. John O'Brien, love and light. Let me know what you thought about this. Leave a comment, start a conversation. Let's change our community. Let's save our life. And let's be the hope and the light this country needs to see as we reset on the other side of COVID-19. Because we're coming back, rainbows after storms.